Low Bourbon Slush Stable. It's Saturday, January 29th. Reporting here from Sunshine Meadows before we get going on the track. It's about 7:20 in the morning. So I think most of you know about the tragic events that transpired up at our farm in Connecticut on Wednesday morning, or Thursday morning, excuse me. Days are going together right now. And for those of you that don't know, our main barn in Summers, which was our showcase barn. It was a big 42 stall barn. It was a beautiful facility. It was only roughly 10, 11 years old. One of the main wings collapsed. Roughly half the barn is no longer there. Unfortunately, 4 horses were trapped in the rubble, in the snow after this occurred. Luckily, all 4 were rescued. Unfortunately, 2 of them were unable to be saved and had to be euthanized on the scene. Those 2 horses were Lady Starlet and My Dolly, who freakishly were mother-daughter and provided the farm and our family and our extended family a lot of joy and a lot of great horses and a lot of great experience over the years. I'd like to take a minute to tell you a little bit about both of those 2 horses. Lady Starlet herself was a champion on the racetrack. She won the Mary Annabelle, which is the largest race for 2-year-old trotting fillies of the year. She produced many outstanding horses, and her horses that she produced have produced outstanding horses. It's a wonderful family and a wonderful pedigree for our farm. She produced My Dolly, who I said was also lost in the collapse. My Dolly herself made over $500,000 and was a Breeders' Crown champion. My Dolly produced To Lindy's Credit, who we raced last year all over the New York Sire Stakes circuit. She won 2 legs at Yonkers. She won a leg at Monticello. She won a leg at Saratoga. She was an outstanding performer last year. And My Dolly also has produced horses that have gone on to produce other champions, such as My Dolly's Dream, who produced Pretty Boy Lindy, who was a standout stakes performer last year in the United States and then went on to win stakes races in Italy at the end of last year and racing the Orsi Mangelli. And also Crown and Lindy, who produced our champion standout from last year, the Lindy Reserve, who won the Peter Houghton for 2-year-olds. This family started at our farm through Native Starlet. We've had 6 generations running since then. Native Starlet had Crown Starlet had Lady Starlet, Lady Starlet had My Dolly had Crown and Lindy had the Lindy Reserve. So the Lindy Reserve is a product of 5 generations of breeding at our farm. We're very proud of that, and we're obviously very hurt to lose both Lady Starlet and My Dolly, and the outpouring of support from many members of the Bourbon Slush Stable and many of our friends throughout the world on our Facebook page and through emails to me and to the farm and phone calls has been really, really touching and greatly appreciated. One of the Bourbon Slush Stable members, Henry Dembski, posted on our Facebook and sent me an email last night that he felt so inclined that and touched by this situation that he made a donation to the Horse Relief Foundation, HORSE of Connecticut, to help in supporting the cause for humane treatment and rescue of horses in the state of Connecticut. Thank you, Henry. Appreciate you spearheading that kind of effort and trying to turn, I think, something that you said in your response there, something tragic into something tremendous. So thank you very much. Tell you about the other 2 horses that were involved in the accident were Moneymaker, who arguably is the greatest champion trotter of all time. She was able to survive this with Gladiator Lindy, who's a 7-year-old gelding, kind of our racing mascot at Lindy Farms. He somehow pushed his way through the rubble and was waiting there next to Moneymaker, kind of showing the rescuers where she was. And in some ways, you try not to give these horses humane attributes, but showing her some moral support. Gladiator's not going to be leaving this farm for any time soon, that's for sure. Both Moneymaker and Gladiator are doing fine at this point. I've posted the Prix de Marique victory of Moneymaker, which is probably one of her greatest victories, on our Facebook page. I encourage you all to go there and watch it and see what an incredible mare she was. When she retired, and I think she still is the richest standardbred of all time, the only mare racehorse to surpass her was Zenyatta, and that was not until her second place victory in the Breeders' Cup last year. So Moneymaker was Zenyatta before Zenyatta was, just to give you an idea of the scope of her accomplishments. One positive thing to note in this whole situation is that both Lady Starlet and My Dolly were not carrying their own foals this year. They're both getting a little bit old and arthritic, so they were bred through in vitro fertilization, and an embryo was taken from them and placed in a recipient mare. So both were bred to Craze, which is a horse that's very close to our heart here. So all things going well, we should receive 2 more babies from Lady Starlet and My Dolly this year, which will obviously be a very joyful event. So good luck to those recipient mares now to provide us 2 new healthy babies from Lady Starlet and My Dolly. And I assure you that neither of those horses will leave the hands of this farm. At this point, I'd like to go on to Bourbon Slush news, tell you what's going on with these horses. As you know, the last couple days here have been kind of hectic, and a lot of things going on, a lot of moving parts, trying to move things forward. But bring you up to speed with our 3 horses. They're doing well, all 3 of them. Southwind Seneca and Rye Hanover, they both trained 2:35 on January 15th and will go back in training on Monday. Since they trained on January 15th, they've been getting some R&R. They've been turned out in the field every day. Actually, Southwind Seneca, when she was turned out one day, got herself in a little trouble, got caught in a fence and scraped up her leg, but any of her cuts are all superficial, don't seem like they should be a problem. So they've been resting for over the last couple weeks, and they'll start back jogging and training on Monday. Bourbon Slush, he trained in 240 on January 25th, and will go back, and he'll be turned out after that, or he was turned out after that. He's getting some rest also. He'll come back into training on February 8th. He trained in 240 very well, and I was happy with him. People are probably asking at this point, why do we give these young horses 2 weeks off? You know, we got to get them to the races, and you know, shouldn't we keep them in training? I ask you to think of yourself. We have a theory when we're training down these young horses of using common sense. And while it always seems, people when they first think of training horses is that they got to work every day and they got to be moving forward to a goal. We believe you got to step back from that and your first inclination to do that and look at it as a whole piece of work here. And we believe with these young horses that you need to push them along and teach them their gait and teach them some speed and gain them some strength through training. However, there's a certain point you can bring them to, and then you need to back off completely and allow that training to take hold, allow them to still grow, for their muscles to develop, in order to recover from that training that you've put into them. If you constantly train these horses and you keep wearing them down and give them no time to recover, their bones don't have time to catch up to their muscles. You end up with some major soundness issues. The horses that we deal with now are so talented and so gated right off the bat. The most important thing we deal with is soundness, which is, you know, if they trying to keep them from getting sore. So we believe there's a period you need to push these horses to a certain point, and then you need to back off them. The problem is the horses can't talk to you. You know, it's not like a person in training where they can say, you know, I'm getting a little sore, but it's not just normal soreness. It's really starting to hurt in a joint, or it's really starting to hurt my bones. It's not just normal muscle soreness. So we have to err on the side of caution. That's why we'll go 3-4 weeks in a row and give these horses 2 weeks off. And it's an amazing thing. And if any of you work out at a gym, you'll probably see the same thing. When you work out hard for a while, give yourself some time off, and you go back to the gym, you actually usually don't lose anything. Your strength, if anything, gets better. Your mental condition gets better because you're not worn out mentally either. That's another big part of this. You're dealing with young horses that are going from just frolicking in a field pretty much to having to work every day. They can get a little sour on that. So by giving them some time out, it really gives them time to physically recover and mentally recover. The horses usually come back in after those 2 weeks out very refreshed, feeling good, and ready to go. So we believe that you actually gain time when you give them rest, not lose time. So that's just a little side note on why we do that. Another question that I got a lot from the last video reports, and actually I think it was from some of the videos that we have with Maria, was people were asking what the white stuff on Bourbon Slush's legs were. That's called a poultice. What we do here, poultice itself is a clay-based product that has other cooling agents in it that we put on horses after we ice them down after the trainings, which draws all the heat and inflammation out of their legs. We take a very proactive approach to keeping these horses sound. After every training, these horses are iced down and they're poulticed to draw out any of the inflammation or any of the heat that has occurred or been brought about by the training that they just went through. We've had great success with this, and we'll plan on continuing this. So that's just to answer that question that I received actually a lot via email. On the last piece of business here, I'd like to just speak about the payments that the last email I sent out to everybody in regards to payments. I asked everybody to get their payments in either online. If you go to the Bourbon Slush stable website through the Lindy Farms website, the Bourbon Slush members only section, you'll see a section there for payments. Please get your shares paid for as soon as possible. Send in the agreements or send in the check with your agreements. As soon as we can get these in would be greatly appreciated, so we can move on to some of the fun things that we have planned, like getting some surveys out to you to better guide how we're going to communicate through email or video reports, Facebook, and we might have some plans for a mobile app. We need some feedback on that. And also start planning some events. I've talked to Ellen Taylor, who's the head of the Harness Horse Youth Foundation. I'm a board member of that, and we're thinking of doing something in conjunction with them at the farm in June for a family day for the Bourbon Slush stable. So we need to get some feedback on all that kind of stuff. So like I said, as soon as you can get your payments in, be greatly appreciated. I know it took us a little while to get the stuff out to you, but you know, I think we got all our ducks in order now, and we'd appreciate it if we could seal this thing up, hopefully by the beginning of February. So with that, I think we're done with our video report today. However, I would like to encourage all of you, if you have any questions of what's transpiring in the stable, if there's anything you'd like me to elaborate on in our next video report, I'd love to do that. Send in your questions via email is always a great way, and we'll try to answer all these questions next time we speak. Thank you very much for your time. Have a good weekend.